Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing another video. This time it's going to be a verbal session for everybody, actually, not really a client. So anyways, I'm going to be talking about 4 topics in this video. I'm going to try to make it as brief and as quick as possible. The first topic we'll be talking about in this video is thinking in terms of long-term success and how to view the ranking system inside of League of Legends. The second topic we're going to be talking about is stupid questions, but I'll go more of that later. The third thing we're going to talk about is how to VOD yourself. I won't go into the exact logistics of how to actually go ahead and VOD yourself. I can't do that in a verbal, but I will tell you what the general ideas are when you are VODing yourself and what you need to look for. And then finally, we'll discuss the most effective ways to train yourself, and then I will also be giving you my personal schedule that I use in order to improve at the game, which might be a bit intense because it does require polyphasic sleeping, which most people don't do. However, again, you can come up with your own schedule, you can change it up, and just do whatever works for you. Anyways, so let's go ahead and talk about the first topic. Thinking in terms of long-term success and how to see the ranking system. So the way the ranking system is essentially built is, yes, there is a difference between silver and gold, right? Oops, that's not English. There is a difference between silver and gold. Okay. Now, if there wasn't a difference between silver and gold, then there wouldn't be silver and gold. But what you guys need to realize is the differences between silver and gold are so minuscule that they don't actually matter. And so we just classify silver and gold as like one tier, right? Yes, there are differences, but those micro differences actually don't matter. And so what you want to do is you want to simply consider the whole tier as essentially one bracket, because there are many players that are silver players who beat gold players and gold players who end up beating silver players. So if you're silver 1 and your friend's making fun of you for being silver 1 and they're like gold 4, I mean, you can just kind of laugh at them. But anyways, so the way you want to simply address the ranking system, let me go ahead and just turn the music down a little bit there, is you want to see this. Now, the way I see the system is I see, so okay, let me write this like a human being. So I see bronze. Again, sorry for my writing. I am so bad at this. There is bronze to about gold 1, right? Then after gold 1, again, this is generally where people are learning the basics, and you want to be able to learn the basics of your champion. So this is the Annie bracket, right? This is the Annie bracket, this is the Garen bracket. This is where you want to simply just learn the champion, right? You don't need to learn the lane, you don't need to learn the game, you just need to be able to learn how to CS, trade, and the most important fundamental for players in bronze to gold is really just being able to move your mouse quick enough and making sure you're getting all the CS, and do not worry about anything anyone ever says to you that isn't the fundamentals. The next bracket, in my opinion, that we would look at would be somewhere from let's say gold 1 to platinum 2, right? Again, this is where players, or let's say plat 5, right, or plat 4, right? Plat 4 to platinum 2. Again, this is a bracket where players are starting to they're starting to pick up some parts of the game, but they are still really fundamentally flawed in a lot of things they're doing. And when you're in divisions like platinum 4 to platinum 2, the thing that you really need to work on is not only just the champion, but also you want to start looking at the lane. So we're going to put champion. Okay, you know what? I am so sorry. I was never a good writer. Champion. Also, I mean, it looks like a toddler wrote this, but anyways. So there is champion, and then finally, you want to start to understand the basics of lane, right? And usually when I'm coaching players in platinum 4 to like platinum 2, or even sometimes, in some cases, platinum 1, right? And then like D5 is like the same thing. I am most of the time coaching players on their lane and their champion. Never do I truly talk about what's happening inside of League of Legends as I'm never really talking about the overall game. I'm always just talking about, hey, you traded wrong here. hey, you missed this minion, hey, this is a bad push, you should have froze this, what are you doing here? You know what I mean? Just basic concepts that they're not understanding. And so again, this is where you can start picking up slightly more advanced champions, like there is Orianna, you can pick up Darius. These champions are still simplistic in their nature, however, you know, you can still, like, plat 4 to plat 1, plat 2, you're able to at least, you know, control the game at a relatively satisfactory mechanical level. And at this point, yes, you want to start focusing on, okay, do I push this wave? Do I freeze this wave? You know, how should I freeze? You know, how should I trade? And really start refining these things. And then finally, we got Platinum. So I'm not going to even say Platinum 1. I'm going to go ahead and say, actually, let's do Platinum 1. Let's do Platinum 1 or Plat 2 to Diamond 2, right? And again, here, this is another bracket that I would consider. So again, so far, League of Legends only has 3 ranks, right? There's like beginner, intermediate, slightly advanced, and then there's like, you know, D2 plus, or sorry, D1 plus, which would be, you know, master tier, grandmaster challenger, where the game does get really serious. Anyway, so when you are Platinum 1 to D2, again, you do want, or more towards, I guess, I'm gonna say D3. I'm gonna say D3. Platinum 2 to D3. Again, this is still a bracket where, you know, you want to focus on your champion, right? You want to focus on your lane, but even within this bracket, we're not truly playing League of Legends at its highest level. At this point, if you are playing in Platinum 2 to D3, you're really, you know, you've refined those mechanics a lot more than players in Platinum 4 to like Platinum 2. There is a difference between someone who's experienced in Platinum 1 and does hit Diamond 2, Diamond 3 at times versus someone who's borderline, you know, Platinum 4, 3, and, you know, sometimes they touch 2. There is a bit of a difference there. But again, this is still relatively the same level as, you know, Platinum 1, Platinum 2, Diamond 3. There's not much of a difference, right? And again, in these levels, you want to be able to play your champion, play your lane, and then finally, once you're Diamond 2 plus, you can start playing slightly more mechanical champions, and this is where you end up playing the game, right? And I talk about this fundamental, right? As we talk about all the fundamentals, there are, you know, we can talk about the fundamentals. There's CSing, there's trading, right? There's map awareness, right? Right? There's mouse accuracy, right? Mouse accuracy. There's camera accuracy, and all these other things. Now, the next fundamental, and by the way, just to repeat myself, the most important fundamental is mouse movements and camera movements. I'm not going to go into that right now, though. But again, once you've mastered these fundamentals, only then can you begin to play the actual game. Now, the game is also a fundamental, right? You can say you can call this game sense, you can call this reading the game, but this is being able to simply play on certain waves. And I talk about this in my videos when I talk about, hey, jungler's making X, Y, Z movement, and you have to correlate this with route A, B, C, or manipulate, you know, you have to manipulate wave C in order to dodge, you know, gank Z, you know what I mean? So this is where the game becomes serious, this is where the game becomes complex, and you do not have to worry about this stuff until you are higher diamond. Before this, just focus on making sure you know how to play your champion and you're not mechanically making misplays, you don't die too much. Making sure that you are able to play the lane, know when to freeze, know when to do all these basics, and just keep grinding the fundamentals, and you will get there eventually. Once you are D1, you have essentially... Once you're D1, now you're playing League of Legends, right? Before D1, you're not really playing League of Legends, you're just trying to play League of Legends, and you're really just trying to master the basics. Anyways, so that's my input on the ranking system, and what you want to do is you want to think in terms of long-term success. Meaning that if you play a game, every game you essentially play now, you essentially want... So every game you play now should be for what kind of player you will become 6 months from now, right? 6 months is really a pretty good bracket to, you know, assume that, hey, I'm going to improve quite a lot by 6 months. I mean, usually 6 weeks is good enough, but we're going to say 6 months just for the, you know, just for the sake of people not, you know, some people just can't do it, some others can. There's varying differences in skill levels and receptivity to the game. And so I always say this, if you're receptive to the game, then you will always climb in ELO. There is no excuse, you know, as long as you are receptive. That's why there's people who would play for like a year and they would get like diamond, right? Versus then there would be people playing for like 5 seasons and they'd be stuck in like gold, right? The reason for this is because this player was just receptive, and this player is most likely not receptive or has a lot of you know, random nonsense ideas about the game that don't really matter. Or, you know, they're a victim of like pro guides, or, you know, they're a victim of like all this random information. And I always say this, right? The more information you have, the less attention, there is just a lot less attention being thrown out, because there's so much information about the game. But if you can simplify the game to its most core values, then you can put all of your attention in those concepts, and thus we talk about the fundamentals of the game. Okay. Anyways, that being said, now let's go ahead and address the next question. Stupid questions. Okay? I get a lot of stupid questions. The most stupidest now, for people who say there is no such thing as a stupid question, yes there is. And I'll explain why. The stupidest question I get, and people always ask me this, and I'm about to release a tier list soon, so people are going to be like, oh, you know, but Zen, you know, why isn't this on the list, or why is that not on the list? And honestly, it's like, I'm not going to answer you. Alright, so the question is, can I play X champion in Y elo? Or is X champion good in Y elo? I'm gonna go ahead and address this publicly now, so I don't have to deal with it later. Especially in Twitch chat, because anytime I would be streaming and these questions would always come up. If your champion is not on the tier list, do not play it. It is too mechanical. If your champion is not on the tier list, it means that there is another champion in the game that probably does what the champion I already put in, or either does it better, or it's just simply more easier to execute. Or I just personally don't think it's a good idea because it would cheat lane, or it end up giving unfair advantages, or, you know, like for example, Galio. Galio is not a champion you want to play to improve at the game, right? Because Galio can dodge lane phase really easily, and if you want to know the characteristics of, you know, what champion can I use to improve at the game, simply find a champion that doesn't dodge lane phase, engages with the opponent as much as possible, and isn't too difficult to execute. If the champion essentially meets these two requirements, it is most likely going to be pretty good to play when improving. Right? Now, if you're like bronze or silver or gold, don't go play Cassiopeia. Go play something like Annie. Go play something like maybe Orianna if you're platinum or gold. I don't think Orianna's good in bronze actually. Yeah, you do that, you'll be just fine, right? And then don't ask these stupid questions anymore. Just continue to do that, and you'll be fine. And if it doesn't work, it's never your champion. It's always actually just you, right? Playstyle doesn't exist. I've already you know, talked about these kinds of things in my previous videos, and, you know, you guys can definitely just, I mean, you probably hear it a lot if you watch my content a lot. Anyways, let's get some water before I move on to this next topic. So this next topic is a bit more complex, and it's stuff that I haven't actually addressed before. The question is, and I get this question a lot, right? And it's probably that it's better that I answer it because it is quite important of a question and it does need to be addressed. The question is, how do I VOD myself? Right? How do I VOD myself? Right? So now this is going to be a bit complex, and again, I talked about the fact that I'm not going to go into the exact logistics of how to VOD, you know. But essentially, what I'm doing as a coach, as a player coach, as a positional coach, or just as a player, whatever you call me, right? Is I see the game in a certain pattern. If the jungler does if jungler does X, Y, Z, then we should do A, B, C. Okay? If jungler does Y, X, Z, maybe we should do C, B, A. Right? And what we're essentially doing is we're aligning the jungler's routes, both our jungler's routes and the opponent's routes, with our management in lane. This is what I talk about when I say this is like D1 plus stuff, and this is where I talk about the last fundamental of League of Legends, which is actually playing the game, which is League as a whole, right? The League of Legends as a fundamental. And if you can do this, you can essentially, and you're able to articulate this, then you can do the exact thing that I'm doing right now. Now, that's how you would want to. That's like the more advanced or more vague way of really VODing yourself, or not really VODing yourself, but seeing how I do it. However, the easier to understand way is, and again, the whole thing I just wrote out is gonna tie into all this in a second, is if, let's say, now you want to see the game in segments, and I like to put the segments in as waves, right? So if we have wave A, right? If we have wave A, we have wave B, we have wave C, wave D, wave E, whatever, right? And then so forth. What's essentially happening is we have a certain mission to achieve on each wave. So if on wave A, our mission is to achieve something, and let's say like we can like put this as like boxes, like a list, like a grocery list for you to just tick off everything you buy. If we achieve our mission on wave A, then okay, great. We don't look at that. Good job, we did it. If we achieve our mission on wave A, it kind of mirrors down into wave B as well. So we succeed on wave B, and then maybe we succeed on wave C. And this is like an example of this is like a cheater recall, right? Where we would end up doing something with the wave on A, doing something with the wave on B, crashing it on a certain wave, and then recalling, and then letting wave D return into us, and then also letting wave E return into us, which again, here's where we reap the rewards, right? So this would be, so now if I was to say cheater recall, a slight example would be like, this is the conditional wave, right? Again, I'm so sorry for my writing. This is the conditional wave, right? This is the heck could I word this? Conditional wave. Let's call this also conditional waves, right? Conditional wave, right? Like 2 and 3, right? And then here is where we get the reward, right? This is where the bounce back happens, right? This is where the bounce happens. And so now it's like, okay, we can call these 2 waves the reward waves, right? Right. So now the way we achieve, now reward waves are always good. Reward waves are waves that now we have a great lane state, we dodge the jungle gank, we have a cull, we have a Dorans, whatever, right? We can start winning lane off this, right? Now what you want to do when you are VODing yourself is you want to essentially make sure that you are achieving everything in the conditional waves, which will then eventually you can reap the rewards in the reward waves, right? So when you VOD yourself, right? And if we look at this as like a flowchart, right? There's move A led to move B, and then you decided, okay, what should I do from here, right? This could be A1, A2. Okay, we achieved move. This could be like, I'm gonna hit the first wave, I'm gonna then crash the second wave or whatever, right? And then these also then move into different options, right? And you can number these however you want, or letter them however you want. So the way you VOD yourself is if you end up dying, let's say on like this segment, right? Maybe this is like wave, I don't know, 6. If you die on wave 6, it's almost always not because you ended up messing up on wave 6, but you ended up messing up on a conditional wave around maybe wave 4. Maybe you messed up on wave 4. Maybe you messed up on wave 3. Maybe you messed up on wave 2, right? Maybe maybe something happened on 5. You know what I mean? And if you can then determine which wave you messed up on, which is then a byproduct of, which wave 6 is a byproduct of, you can now VOD yourself. So essentially, in a nutshell, what I'm trying to tell you is do not look at the game from a result-based analysis, and do not take results. Don't like base your conclusions on the immediate results, but base them on how those results ended up transpiring relative to the previous waves and the information and the movements and the plays that you made, right? Usually if we talk about chess, right? If we're talking about chess, most of the time in chess, if you end up losing out, then, you must have messed up on a previous move somewhere. Maybe you didn't move your rook correctly. Maybe your knight wasn't, in the right spot, and you gave it up. And because your knight was given up, you end up losing out on your, pawn or whatever, right? And then it just snowballs out of control to the point where then it's not recoverable. So what you want to do is you don't want to look at when you lost a pawn. You want to see when you opened with the wrong chess opening against the opponent with a knight or something. And if you can prevent that, then the byproduct, which would be, on wave 6 or, however, wherever in chess that you end up losing, more and more of your pieces and ends up snowballing, it will be prevented, right? So again, quick example, if we are doing wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5, wave 6. Let's say we end up building wave, let's say we end up winning out on wave 1, and I'm not going to go into the winning out on wave 1. I'm not going to like dissect that. Watch my videos if you don't know what that means. If you win on wave 1, you know, maybe you end up forcing the opponent off of the wave because you're going to hit level 2 on the second wave, you won on wave 2. Maybe you end up crashing and you end up, you know, you end up getting a really good crash on wave 3. Maybe you then end up shoving out again, and you end up winning out on wave 4, you know, because you have the push going, and this opens up for a scuttle timing, because this is at 3:15, you know, so now your jungler wins scuttle crab, your jungler now does double crab right across the map, which then snowballs your jungle lead because you ended up playing wave 1 and 2 and 3 correctly, so now you're actually indirectly putting your jungler ahead. Then let's say that your jungler is off the map and it is low tempo and you know you want to play inside of a defensive angle. Well, you already have a good wave, so maybe wave 5 buffers inside of the wave, and then wave 6 and wave 6 and wave 7 return into you. Well, now you're essentially playing the lane correctly. Now let's say, for example, that you know you end up dying on wave 5 or something. You know what I mean? Well, maybe you didn't end up buffering 5 because maybe you ended up you know, maybe you ended up bouncing 4 and 5, and then, you know, like, anything could happen, you know. I'm trying to think of like an example. That's a good example. What is a good example of a mess up someone can have? Let's take a look. Hold on. 1, 2. Let's just number this out first. Yeah, okay. Let's say that you end up, let's say that you don't, okay, I got it. Let's say you don't auto level 1 against a melee opponent that you know you can abuse. Let's say he hits level 2 first. Now let's say because he gets level 2 first, you're zoned out of the wave. Now let's say that he ends up getting a bounce on a buffer on 3 because he crashes the 3rd, bounces on 4, and you die on 5. Your death on 5 is not because you misplayed. Well, obviously you did misplay a little bit, but your biggest misplay was on wave 1 or wave 2. That's essentially how you want to be looking at it. And if you can determine these things, you can easily VOD yourself. Okay. Anyways, I mean, this is already a 20-minute long video. I was hoping to make it 10 minutes, but I guess we're not doing that. Now let's go ahead and talk about the last topic. That section kind of took a minute, but it's completely fine. Okay, so the last topic. What is the most effective way to train yourself, and what kind of schedule should you have when it comes to League of Legends? Now, I'll give you my schedule. Actually, let me talk about how to first train yourself. So let's say jungle, right? Let's you know what? Let's say laning, because I know more people are laners than there are junglers. So let's say that so you're gonna divide it on a week by week basis, and I've already talked about the drills. You can watch that on my drills video. So the first week, maybe you work on your CSing, and that's all you do. Remember how we talk about attention points, and this is stuff that we talked about in the Dopa VOD. Let's say that we have, so okay, this is gonna get a bit messy, so bear with me here. Okay, so let's say these are attention points. Okay, let's say we have 10 attention points for, you know, in total. Now, the more attention you have and the more things you can focus on, the higher this will get. Okay, maybe you have 20, and 20, 30, 40, 50 is always good. And this is all hypothetical. Please do not, you know, quote me specifically on these things. But anyways, so let's say you have 10 attention points. Let's say that now let's list the fundamentals. I'll list like 3 or 4 fundamentals. I'm not gonna list the whole thing. So let's say CSing, right? Let's say God damn, I cannot write. How did I even get through it? Okay. Trading, map awareness. Let's see what else I can say. CSing, trading, map awareness. I don't know. Spacing. Okay, great. Okay, anyways, so spacing. Okay, so CSing, trading, map awareness. Again, I'm so sorry for my writing. So let's say that we want to do, so the way you're going to do this is, if you need to put all of, now a good player can essentially do all of these things. Let's say that your CSing, a good player's CSing is 10 out of 10, you know, and let's say yours is like a 2 out of 10, you know, you're a really bad player. Trading, let's say it's a 3 out of 10. Right? Let's say your map awareness is a 4 out of 10, you know? Let's say your spacing is, I don't know, 2 out of 10, whatever. I mean, this is probably like a silver or gold player, but anyways. Or like a bronze player. Anyways, okay, so now what you're going to do is you want to now individually increase these numbers. And it's like working out, you know, you don't just go ahead and work out the whole body. I mean, you can, but you know, if you are experienced at resistance training, then usually doing a whole body workout isn't really good, because then one muscle group doesn't really end up getting the exact amount of resistance, and so then the growth isn't as rapid, or then, you know, maybe you just don't even gain muscle. But this is kind of like working out in a way, right? So when you're CSing, you want to spend all of your attention points on CSing, and you're gonna do this for 1 week, right? So you're gonna now spend all 10 of your attention points on CSing, and now all of the other fundamentals are now gonna be 0, 0, 0. So you're probably gonna die a lot because you don't have any map awareness, and then you're spacing, and maybe you end up dying a lot because you're trading. That's completely fine. Just get all of the CS in the game and keep doing that for 1 week straight. You will lose a lot of games doing this, by the way. So you know, just be prepared to absolutely lose a bunch of LP. Right now, let's say that after 1 week, this has now become pretty, you know, it's like muscle, you know, your muscle memory. It's not like you need to spend so many attention points on it. Now you can spend only, you know, 3 attention points, and you up this to maybe a 5 out of 10. And now that you have 3 attention points on CSing, you can now maybe spend, you know, 3 on this, right? Maybe you spend 3 on this, and maybe you spend 1 on this. Now, although, you know, you have total 10 attention points, so obviously we can't go higher than this, 3, 6, 9, 10, right? And so now, again, you want to repeat the process. Trading. Just go into 1v1s and trade with people. Because with trade, and then, you know, let's say that you have, let's say you're trading. Oh my god, this is so sorry for people who, I mean, this is just not visually appealing at all. So with trading, let's say that now, you know, CSing, you have 3 attention points. You don't really need, you know, 10. So now you focus all of your attention points, or the remaining attention points, on trading. And you make sure that you can up this trading till maybe 5 points or maybe 6 points, while simultaneously putting in, you know, all of your attention. And then again, this will drop to 0 attention points, and then this will drop to, again, 0 attention points. And then now all you're doing is you're trading for 1 week straight. Now, the difference, now what ends up happening here is now your CSing has become muscle memory because you require less attention. Back 2 weeks ago, when you didn't do this schedule, what ended up happening here is you only have 10 attention points, CSing takes 5 of them, trading ends up taking another 5, you're always dying to ganks, and you can't space properly against the opponent. This equals low elo, right? This is low elo. But if you can simply, you know, maybe you can invest like 1, 1, 1, 1, and then the rest of it on the game. Again, the game is another fundamental, right? Which is the last fundamental. And if you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then maybe you can do 6 on the game, you're already a high elo player, right? Now again, this isn't the best of examples, and it is the board is a bit messy, but this is essentially how you train. And what this is called it's essentially called isolation practice. If you are able to isolate certain variables and make them muscle memory to the point where you get into game and you don't even have to think about anything, you will become a better player. Because the game itself, now good players, if you're a really good player, you know, Dopa, Faker, whatever, all 10 of your attention points need to be on the game. That's where all 10 of your attention points go. When it comes to CSing, trading, all that stuff, the fundamentals, right? The fundamentals, it should be 0. You do not want any attention points in the fundamentals because you want to make sure the fundamentals are like breathing to you. And if you can do that, then you can begin to play the game. This is when now you hit Master Plus, right? And this ties in with, hey, I want to align, you know, my wave with wave A, wave B, wave C with jungler route X, Y, Z, right? In order to do this, you must first be able to have more attention on the game. And this is why I cannot coach low elo like this, because low MMR players have no attention in the game, because all their attention points are used in their fundamentals. And that's why I keep drilling into people's heads. If you don't have the fundamental, if the fundamentals to you aren't like breathing, then you need to keep practicing, and you don't actually need coaching. You just need to get the fundamentals down. There's nothing to talk about, because when it comes to high elo coaching versus low elo coaching, high elo coaching is a different game. Low elo coaching is more like, I'm just kind of yelling at you to do the things that I talk about in my videos. Whereas high elo coaching, we really start talking about the game. Okay? Anyways, I hope that was a good enough example. It was quite a complex, but, you know, and my writing doesn't make it any easier for you guys, so I apologize. But whatever, you know, as long as that's addressed. Finally, let's address the last thing, which is a schedule. Now, a schedule is pretty important. So if you're crazy like me, maybe you can follow it. I mean, it's quarantine anyway. If you're still in quarantine, then I mean, you know, might as well try it. But I do something called polyphasic sleeping, right? Polyphasic sleeping is essentially I sleep twice a day and I only sleep for 3 hours, right? So I sleep for 6 hours total, and the second I wake up, I'm able to be like fully aware of everything, and I sleep for like 6 hours total. So what I would do is I would end up sleeping from like 12 a.m. Which, I mean, I'm a little late right now. It's 12:30 here. I would sleep at 12 a.m. till about 3:45 in the morning, and maybe 4 a.m. if I want those extra 15 minutes. I would wake up. I would do a morning workout. I would end up meditating, and then I would end up just kind of chilling, right? And then I would end up playing League. I would break my gameplay into 2 splits, where I would end up playing League from anywhere from 5:30 in the morning till about 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, about 8 o'clock or so, right? And then I would end up going throughout my day. You know, I would end up maybe sleeping around 3 p.m. in the afternoon, or maybe, you know, whatever. And then I'd wake up at 6. And then once I've woken up, I'm fully aware again. You know, I'm good again from 6 o'clock onwards till like about 9 o'clock. I again would do another split. But in this split, I'm actually reviewing everything I did in my 5:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. 2-3 hour training period that I was fully on the game, attentive, and, you know, trying to win. And I would just simply VOD that, and then I would watch higher level players, and I would compare myself. And this actually, I did this in Korea. It got me literally. I got to like in Korea. I got to like Diamond 2 doing this, and I would have gotten to Master Tier if I'd continued to do this. And even in NA, I don't have an account that, you know, I'm still ranking up my new account. But doing this will get you into Grandmaster. It could get you into Challenger. You just have to keep doing this, and then you want to keep this for about 6 weeks. 6 weeks to maybe 12, you know, about the same as like any like workout plan, really. And here, this is my schedule, right? Now, I'm not going to tell you to wake up 3:45 in the morning like a fucking drill sergeant to, you know, start playing League of Legends. But you essentially would want to make a schedule. Following the schedule and having discipline is so important when it comes to improvement, because then you can begin to track your improvement, and your improvement doesn't become you playing 8 hours a day and then not improving. It is better to play 8 hours. It is better to play 3 hours a day, fully conscious and fully aware and have full attention in the game, than to spam and play 8 hours, right? Because there are people wasting their time. They think that quantity equals quality, and they think that if they play more, they'll get better. Which, sure, you know, you can work out a crap ton and maybe you'll gain a bit of muscle, but if you don't have the right diet, and you don't have the right schedule, and you don't have the right discipline or the consistency, then it's not actually going to help you. Essentially, this is a workout plan, not for your muscles, but for your mind and for your, I guess, hands or mechanics or whatever, you know? Okay, so anyways, that being said, what you want to try to do is you want to have a schedule that will do twice a day. Twice a day is actually how professional athletes, in some cases, not all of them, don't quote me on this, there are professional athletes who do train twice a day, and twice a day is usually the best. I would say it's really good, where one is like the first period or the first set, you're mostly playing a lot of games, like full focus, you're just playing games, and then the second set, maybe you're watching VODs, right? Maybe you play like 1 to 2 more games, you know, just cause. Maybe you end up watching, streams, right? Maybe you watch coaching sessions, whatever, right? So just education. And then you sleep on it, right? Because when you sleep, you get information, you sleep on it, you wake up, you are more likely to retain that. It's like the same saying when, you know, you're in high school, or, you know, some of you guys are probably still in high school, but when I was in high school, I was always told, don't cram all of your work, and then, you know, try to do the test the next day. It's better to do a little bit on day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and then up until the test period, have a good night's sleep, remember everything, and then I'll do so much better. It's the same thing with League of Legends. Anyways, I've already made this video 35 minutes long, a little bit longer than a lot longer than I'd hoped to make it, but I hope that does address some of the questions you guys have been having. Make sure that you, if you have any questions, or you want to watch me stream, where I would coach players, or I would just end up playing solo queue. I do stream every Sunday. The hours do vary. They are on my Twitch chat and whatnot, or my Discord. And again, if you want a free coach, you can always join my Discord. and contact some of them. We also have $5 to $10 coaches that you can talk to. I don't make any money off them. It is all simply, they join. They will, you ask them for however many sessions, and they are all very high elo players. They're anywhere from Diamond 1 to Challenger, and they will definitely help you. And again, if you are low elo, definitely contact them. Do not contact me, because I will not help you if you're low elo, because there's just nothing to tell. There's nothing to talk about until you have hit at least Diamond 2, Diamond 1, and then we can begin to talk about the game. Anyways, that is it for tonight's video, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.